glad you're here to join us. I'm Mark Laurie. I'm with Inner Spirit Photography. That's my main gig. And lately we've been expanding that a little bit. I've got the podcast that's called Fascinating Women. It's on, you can catch it on any podcast units. And that's kind of exciting for me. I've been a photographer for 40 years. And I've noticed over the course of my career that I get some really, really cool women that come in to be photographed by me. And I found them fascinating. So that evolved the podcast. And then this particular masterclass, I thought the podcast is designed to talk more about people's backgrounds and values and how they got to be who they are. But From the Heart Masterclass is more of a skill transfer, an insight transfer. And so yesterday we had Maud in about the laughing hour, and I saw that some of you attended us there, and it's kind of fun. And today I've got Bee in. And the masterclass is designed to share knowledge, stuff that you can actually use and play with. A couple pieces of housekeeping is if you have questions, you can ask them either the Q&A thing or in the question. I'm kind of watching both. Dee she's on her phone. And every now and then with the bandwidth, she may freeze up for a little bit. So we may have a little bit of some of that popping in, but I think we should be kind of okay. And I'll just pop in. There we go. So this is me. I've been speaking internationally. I've written 6 books so far. One of them is a poetry book along with photography books. I mentioned the podcaster bit. And of course, my photography firm, which is my main thing. I mostly photograph women, and we make a transition of who people are. They go from being nervous and body aware sometimes to something beautifully exotic. And there we go. And this is my logo, and you empower, embrace, and be glorious. And this is Bee. So I go back to the screen. Actually, I'll let you take over now, Bee. So Bee, I met her at an event one night, and she stood right out. So she clearly knows her fashionable outfits to project her personality, which was quite impressive and quite noticeable. And we started chatting, and I started to get a real depth of the image making that clothes can do, and how there's really a second skin and speaks about who you are before you even engage anybody. So when you're trying to make an impression or make a statement or just signal who you are, the clothes make a pretty big difference, more so than some of us even realize. So I'm going to turn this over to Dee now, and she'll tell you a bit about herself and get into the education transfer. Hello, Dee.
Hi, I'm glad to, well, I guess I can't really see everybody, but good afternoon.
The crowd that's out there.
Yay. So yeah, my name is Bee, and I'm a clothier or fashion stylist, probably something you're a little bit more familiar with. Clothier is somebody who fits clothing. So I'm a professional clothes fitter. Plus I also do personal shopping as well. You know, I believe clothes are so important, as Mark and I have talked, and we refer to it as our second skin, which is a phrase he's used over and over, and I absolutely love it because that's exactly what it is. So little bit about myself. I thought maybe I was not born with the name Bee. My name is actually Phaedra Maud Beard, which is a coincidence because Maud we had on
yes.
yesterday, which was lovely, and it was strange, but I think she pronounces it very French. It was a mode
because she's French.
Because she's French, and I love it. So I wasn't always, it's taken me a long time to transform into who I am, and I realized there came a time in my life I realized how much fashion is important and how people perceive us. So I'll get you to put up slide 1 for me there, Mark. So, unable to see me. Can't see me.
You can't see you.
That was the one of the comments.
Second here, pop up to it.
To see. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, because of the screen. There we go. There we go. So,
and we just back.
There we go. Is it working? Okay. Yeah. So that's okay because I wanted the slide and the photo. So as long as you guys can see the photo. So So on the far left, that was me in high school. I was a very awkward child. I was finding myself. I was very tall, gangly. People would call me an Amazon. Now it's cool to be an Amazon because Wonder Woman is popular. Back then, not so much. So, Mark, you can flip off that slide if you'd like.
Okay. Second, my screen's doing bizarre things.
Oh.
I'll go up to, it's a drawing. There we go.
Oh, there we go. Hey. So yeah, as you saw, my high school pictures were kind of, we all have our fun ones, but it took me a long time to grow into who I am and then to understand. So fast forward 13 years.
Okay, she'll be back in just a second.
Was very extremely abusive relationship, because that's what it was. Oh, am I freezing?
Yeah, you're just frozen, but you're back now.
Oh no. Okay. So so when we finally achieved her escape, she created her life. RCMP were involved. After 22 years of being what she should be, she wanted to change herself and reinvent herself. And one of the first things that we actually did for her was we went out and went shopping. She had never been in control of her own wardrobe. She was always dictated what she had to wear. And now suddenly she's entering the work world. She had to figure out who she was. And that was my major aha moment, when I knew how transforming clothes could be for a person. Because as we said, it's like the second skin. Okay, well, we're born in our birthday suit. There's a lot of things we don't like about who we are, like our skin might be saggy, we might got wrinkles, there's all sorts of things. We got a little bit of rolls, but clothes can kind of smooth over all that. And we can reinvent ourselves by the clothes that we wear. And it really affects us mentally. And as it did with my friend, who, like I said, she was in a very physically and abusive, we were afraid for her life. This really helped her self-esteem and her confidence level to now go out and take care of herself and her son and stand on her own 2 feet. Is by her. We created a whole new wardrobe, something, things that she was like, can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. And I'm like, let's do it. And it gave her such empowering confidence that, like I said, was my aha moment when I knew that fashion was significant. And I know that we kind of poo-ha it. Like I said, and then unfortunately many years had passed. Went through a few marriages. Took the very practical route, went from a librarian to law enforcement to a paralegal. And one of the other big significant moments was that when I would go to court, I'd have to go to court as my team representative, as the enforcement officer who issued tickets. The department that I was in, we didn't have to wear uniforms, and as the court representative. So I would experiment. I would sometimes go to court very well dressed. I'd make sure I'd wear my skirts, my buttoned up shirts, and made sure I took care to do my hair when it was court day. And I realized how people interacted with me was completely different than on the days that I just kind of went, I still look good, don't get me wrong, but I put a lot less effort into it. And it was interesting how the court officials reacted to me. The people I always interacted with would treat me different. The offenders would treat me.
She'll be back in just a moment.
Get me wrong, they still
I knew what she was saying.
Playing around with it. Obviously, I wasn't much in the enforcement with the fashion.
We just lost you for a bit there, Dee.
What's that?
Lost you for a bit there.
Oh no, oh no.
Somewhere around the button-down shirts. And she's gone again.
You're up there, Mark.
Yeah, hear your voice.
Oh, give it a bit. There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so I hope people caught the court experience, and so you can put slide 1 up again.
Okay.
This is when I decided to really change myself and go after. I had a very tragic incident that happened. I lost my father, who I was extremely close to and was my everything. He was a single father and everything else. So at that time, I didn't really have anything to lose. So I really pursued my fashion. I had been transforming myself. I don't know, is it not working, Mark?
Just give me a second here. It's just gonna, a little bit on the slow side. It's gonna be, come on, there we go.
So I decided to enter into the modeling world. There we go. So I went from the very awkward teenager to later on in my mid 30s, almost 40s, I decided to pursue the whole modeling thing. I had done it and attempted to go into the field when I was younger and had training for it. But I decided, you know what, let's do it. Let's recreate myself and who I am around fashion. And I got into runway modeling. Print modeling. I worked with fashion designers, and I love that part of it because it helped them be creative. And then I was also on the side doing the image consulting and helping clients really find who they were and find confidence in how to dress. So slide 2. So this brings me to the whole thing around this about our Zoom conference. We live in a complete different world. So the person on the left and the person on the right, who would you believe would give you better because the first thing people so yeah. So this is the thing, is that this was me this morning. I was going to do a whole video intro, but I decided to switch it up. But this is me this morning. This is how I kind of woke up. I was like setting up stuff and kind of groggy. This is not how you should go to Zoom meeting because people aren't going to take you seriously. We could just shut it off for a second now, Mark.
I'll go back to you. Screen. There we go. Oops. Just trying to get to, there we go.
There we go. So, you know, those are both the same as me. And the person on the left, I love just as much as I love the person on the right and who she is. But when and even now, I made sure that I'm not dressed as fancy as I would when I normally would have gone to work outside. And now this is quarantine mode me. You know, it doesn't take much for us to put ourselves together, and it's about presentation. You work hard on your business, you work hard on your career, you work hard, and I know I have ladies and men on here. You want to project the best of yourself, and that you're confident, and you know, to your clients, to your coworkers, to your boss, whoever it is. Part of that, and a big part of that, is how you dress. So, you know, there's a lot of conversation around, and as the second slide, or as the third slide shows, there's an article, Mark was sweet enough to send it to me, because we were looking for examples of Zoom meetings and stuff like that, how for some reason, we've decided that it's okay. And this one was very specific, um, about in court, lawyers that are telecommunicating from CCTV are like, some of them are lazing by the pool in their bathing suits. Would you go to the office dressed the way you would go to a Zoom meeting? To me, that's the line, that's the border of, the bare minimum, casual Friday. It shouldn't go below that. And as the judge, said, somebody was in bed, you know, it's an interesting article. You haven't showed the bigger one there, Mark. I just see the screen, unfortunately.
Okay, I'll just move to the big one here. This is with the lawyer. Here we go.
Yeah, that was the article about the lawyer.
There you go.
There we go. It was insane, and I didn't actually expect that lawyers would be doing it, but there you go. So we're all human, apparently, and this definitely is showing the human side of us. But it's, sorry, I'm just trying to check my notes. I want to make sure that I'm catching all the points that I wanted to present. It's about taking pride in who you are. It's not about being the next Kardashians or freaking James Bond or whatever. We don't have to go to those extremes. It's just about taking care of yourself. Brushing your hair, putting on a nice, shirts. It's taking pride in yourself, your business, your company, and who you are and how you want people to see you. I am a very vain creature, so I don't want people to see me in any. So please appreciate the picture on the left, the last one I showed you, because those are not pictures I show people in public. Yes.
More mileage for you. More mileage.
I'm being vulnerable here, guys. But and it's just because I want to show my best to you, and it's partly because, yes, I take pride in who I am, but I also want to, it comes from the day as I think back of my childhood. But my father, he was born in 1939. He was an old fart. But one thing that stuck with me is we lived out, I was raised on the coast in Vancouver, and we lived way out in the small
Must be saying small
island.
On an island.
When we're close, that is like, okay, we got to go into town for groceries. What's that?
There you go. You're back.
Oh, am I freezing up here? You can turn the slide off there, Mark.
Okay. Stop share. Good. As soon as it through this. There you go. You're back.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So, like I was saying, we had our chore clothes and we had our town clothes. And, Daddy, he didn't dress up in suits and ties. That was definitely not him. But he had his holy pants that he patched up 1,000 times over again, and a rough flannel shirt. So then his town clothes, he had the nice buttoned up shirt that he would put on and a very clean, dark pair of jeans. So we always had that. And he said it's because you want to take pride in who you are. You respect yourself, you respect the people around you. So you wouldn't go to town in your grubbies. And I mean, when he was building the boat, he would do the same thing. Like, we had the boat yard, he was all in his grubbies building the boat. And then we had to go to town, he would change. And so that maybe is just like ingrained. And I know nowadays we don't think dresses as important. We go, well, people should accept me for the way I am. And yes, there is some truth and value in that. But on the other hand, again, as the quote said, subconsciously, we're going to judge before somebody can open the mouth and tell us your knowledge and your experiences so that we can admire that. We're going to see your appearance. And a lot of my clients, I'm hoping slide 3, Not sure what slide 3 is.
That's gonna be the guys there. Just I'll pop back in.
Perfect. Perfect.
Share screen. Here we go. And pop into there. Pop into there. And pop into there.
Oh, perfect. So this is a great example. This was one of my clients. I don't know if anybody recognizes who he is. He's kind of famous. He's kind of an important guy. And you know, he came to me. I was doing a styling for a show that he was getting interviewed on, and he came back to me and said, "Okay, B, I want to look better because I live in sweatpants, track pants, baseball caps because of his job. It's kind of that's his attire. But then when he goes for interviews and award shows, he wants to look a little bit more professional. But he's a big boy, so." This is then now where I want to talk the difference between fashion and style. So fashion, we look in the fashion magazines, YouTube, it's everywhere. This is what they're wearing on the runway. What I do and how I help people is help them discover who they are and what their style is, because style is going to last you. That's what you're going to feel comfortable in. And it's marrying the two concepts of what is fashionable, what's coming in, what's trending, but what works with who you are. So you see his shorts and hoodie, and then you see him in a sports jacket and a pair of pants and a really nice t-shirt. Now that t-shirt is a $75 t-shirt. It is excellent cotton quality and it's a fitted shirt, so it looks slick. It's not frumpy. It's not one of those beer shirts. It's not one of the Walmart gray shirts that just kind of hangs on you. But because he's an athletic gentleman, he needed something that would flow with him. And I found him a sports coat that fit his shoulders and tailoring coats. And those men are just figuring this out. So you can look great, but be comfortable. So, and those pants are phenomenal. Yes, the investment value is a little bit, but the comfort level that you get with those on top of the put together look, you can't, the quality is there. Is price wise, sometimes unfortunately we do have to spend a little bit more when it comes to that. But so which one do you would is the sport? He's him and his wife both, and I was very blessed to be able to dress him. Oh,
Are you back?
So in that, am I there? I think my headphones might be dying. I was just bragging to you about my headphones. So so with that, I worked with what is fashionable. I made sure that he was dressed, you know, and the sports coat fit what the trends are nowadays. But I also worked with who he is as a person. It's so important to try to marry those two, because he wouldn't feel comfortable and probably wouldn't wear it. And he actually did wear it to the CFL Awards night because he felt comfortable in it and he enjoyed it. And you can actually check it out on his webpage. He has one up there with his wife, Petra. So it's coming down to how do we work together and find the best thing, and creating, you know, a kind of a, Mark and I talked about it as almost like a uniform. I think if you want to go to slide 5, Mark, I kind of marked my notes here. I'm rambling a bit. Oh, no, this is perfect. This is perfect. Just shabbily, and they remember the dress, to dress impeccable, and they remember the woman. Or in that case, you can also say man, because, you know, they're going to remember. And when I I'm a horrible critiquer because when I watch TV shows, I'm all about judging the suits. I'm all about judging the footwear.
Well,
Like, I'm just like, no, this is not right.
that's gonna work. So, do you also do the active gear? Like you dressed him well, but you also have input on what his casual clothes would be?
Yeah, well, his casual clothes are the shorts and the
Yeah,
hoodie.
yeah, and that's something you
Yeah.
put together as well. Okay, so off onto the next slide. There we go.
Yes, yeah, I definitely that too. And that's the thing is, yeah, like it's all matching what a person is. If somebody is more of a construction worker guy,
Yeah.
and he has a business and he has to go from the construction site to the meeting or the
Meeting room.
presentation,
Putting words in your mouth there.
gonna put for people. And this is what I was talking about, his style. What's that? Am I freezing?
Yeah, you're back again. I was figuring out what you're saying.
No, it's about working with people's styles. So yeah, if their world is the active world, then how do we make that work so that we elevate it so they're not, they're very well put together. Because it's whatever industry that you're in is how you're going to dress for it. I didn't put the example up. I had a young man that he got an internship out of college to a big New York firm and a tech company. So he came to me and he showed me the video and he's like, how do I dress for this? And so it was finding clothes that were the t-shirt, were the, very comfy, more laid back clothes, but it elevated him just enough so that when people are looking at all the interns, he's going to stand out just a little bit, not a lot, because it would be ridiculous to try to put him in something that wouldn't be suiting. So that's where you're marrying the fashion with the styling, because you want to work with the person, where they're at, who they are. So one of the other points Mark and I kind of covered, and he wanted me to kind of cover, is, it could be called, we call it sometimes the capsule wardrobe. So in these pictures, I have 5 pictures here. For me, I have created somewhat of a capsule wardrobe because there are some days I get up and I'm like, hell no, I don't want to dress up. I just want to say my jammies. I want to be comfy. Like that's just us being real as human beings. So I have created myself a wardrobe that is dressed up but comfortable. I do dresses. I have my shirt dresses that I love. I just add a new accessory. Whether it's a necktie, maybe I change up my sports jackets, change up my stockings. But literally there, I have 3 dresses only. And from those 3 dresses, I created 5 completely different looks. And whether it's a ribbon around my waist, a flower on my, lapel, I've made it look different, but they're super comfy, super easy that I don't have to think about. And I can just get up, put it on, do my hair. And I've created a makeup look for women. I've created a makeup look that is super easy. I don't have to spend, I'm all about looking the best with the lowest maintenance, because I don't have the patience for that. I grew up a tomboy. But I also understood the significance of looking good over all the years. So I'm like, okay, how do I translate that for ladies? How do I translate that for men in the real practical world? Because some of us love to spend, 2-3 hours in the bathroom getting ready, whether it's a guy or a girl. I know guys that spend that much time too. So, it's about creating and finding the pieces that work for you. Mark used an example. There was a lady he knew. She had a couple of shirts, and literally, I think, Mark, if I'm right, you said she, you could
I will lose it, or I'll tell the story. There's a girl that's
bought like 3 or 4 different colors for either. You know,
Yeah.
pants, you find a pair of pants that fit you, that are beautiful. What's that, Mark?
We just lost you for a bit, so I was just telling about the lady. She had 3 outfits, and that was her work outfits. And so she'd go in, and that's her whole closet was like 5 of the same shirts, 5 of the same things, and she didn't have to think about it. She just walked in. That was just a decision she didn't have to make. But they were very well organized because she was a CEO of a fashion company, and so she looked good.
See, you left that out. See, that's the thing. When we get in fashion, you understand. You want to create and this now carries us into, and Mark, like I said, you can shut off the slide if you'd like.
Okay.
This brings me back to the point of creating a brand. She created a brand, but she's in the fashion industry, so she understands that. And for myself, I do too. I usually always have one of these flowers, whether it's a little flower, whether it's a big flower. Like I said, I got a few of them to match like everything that I have.
Old hippie.
What's that?
Old hippie.
A little bit. I love flowers. See, I went from one extreme to the other. I was a tomboy for so many years. Now I'm super girly. But that's the thing, is she understood that is find what works for you and then buy it in multiples. There's nothing wrong with a guy. Like, I had clients that loved, like I said, again, I put Corey in the 34 Heritage. They're super, super stretchy and comfortable. They create them everywhere from a super casual jean all the way up to a very dressy sports pant. And I would have my clients that had every color and range of them because they were easy. He knew how they fit. He knew what to expect from them. He loved them. And then we just worked on the shirts the same and had it create a color palette. You didn't think about matching. Everything go flow, because exactly that, as you were saying, the example Mark used, you got to get up in the morning and you got to just do that. And it takes the stress out of it. So it's much easier to accomplish. And even if it's just like, if you're more of a casual worker, because you're an electrician, a construction worker, even if it's about wearing a nice pair of clean, dark pair of jeans, because a dark pair of jeans are definitely more the dress up jeans. You don't want the light pair, and you get a really nice few different colors of polo shirts. They work beautifully. For a woman, you find a pair of slacks that you love. They got these awesome, they're called paper bag pants. I know they don't sound very attractive, but they are amazing. Super comfy. They got the cute little waist with a bow on it. They got the fruffles. You buy those in all sorts of colors that match. You buy some blouses, all the same. And it's simple. It's just, once you get out of the fog of like the Kardashians and the runways and that is there, but it's not for everybody. And that's for the special occasions. But it's not for the everyday style. So, for the Zoom presentations, even here, I just, it's snowy, it's yucky. So I was like, what am I going to wear? I don't want to wear my sports jacket because I'm at home. And I'm like, I haven't had to wear these for a while. So I just put on a nice sweater and a nice collared shirt. It didn't take much to put it on. I'm super comfy. I have to say, I am wearing my yoga pants at the bottom, but that's the thing. It's just from this up, guys. It's easy on Zoom. So to take that extra step, you also feel better. Like, because you see yourself, even if you're a small version of yourself and you're looking at everybody else, you feel better. And the kids were giving me a hard time because to prepare for this, I actually spritzed a little bit of perfume on. Just because of my mental state, I had to get in the game. I was like, okay, kids are like, what are you doing, Mom? They can't smell you. But
I'm hoping you can still hear me. My headphones died. Okay, perfect. But as I was explaining to them, it's not about everybody else. It's about yourself. How do you feel? Yeah, see, Joanne, she put exactly the perfumes for me because I'm waving my arms around. If I smell bad, that's going to distract me. But it puts me in a good sense of humor too. And, you know, with this quarantine mode thing that we're doing, it is affecting us mentally. So any small thing that can help us feel better, it's worth the effort. And eventually we're going to get out of quarantine mode and you have to see your coworkers face to face. And if you were one of the ones that did the Zoom meeting in bed or in your bathrobe, there's probably going to be some teasing going around the office. So, you know, it's, you know, the human experience is about the mental game. And fashion is 100% that. You're not doing it really for anybody else. You're doing it for yourself and your own self-worth. What are you worth? Are you worth getting up, taking that shower, shaving your face, putting on, you know, even if it's a little bit of mascara? Are you worth that? And you know, with that, it also projects the confidence. And that's sort of my thing. And I know at the end of this, Mark, we wanted to give a free gift. Do you want me to say it now? I forgot to tell you about it.
That's okay. We'll do that towards the end. We still got some time.
I can't hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, perfect. Now I can hear you.
Okay, good. So how does a person decide what their styles, like what their image should be, I guess? Like, you know, you walk into a normal store and just a rack of shirts and a rack of pants. How does a person start the process of going, well, I'm my canvas. I want to project this. I want this to be my clothes to be my brand. What should my brand look like? How do it make sense? How do you process that?
Well, the best way is not walking into a store because you're just going to be overwhelmed because there's way too much to choose from because they have to have stuff for everybody. Yeah. My suggestion would be best just going on, you know, Googling, say, women's fashion, sporty. If you feel you're, you know, these are old terminologies, but there's the classic, the sporty, the dressy, you know, like there's these different style types nowadays. You know, there's grunge, there's all sorts. And, you know, basically, you know, with the internet now, you can go and browse fashion, see the things that jump out at you, that you go, oh, I like that. Oh, that's nice. Instinctively, we know who we are if we trust ourselves.
Would it be a good idea to start without the pictures? Because I know when I do websites, that becomes a distraction. To sit down and maybe do word choices, like describe what you, because sometimes it's not about what your style is now, but what you want to evolve into. So if I'm a lower level executive or a regular person, I want to present myself as a high-end artist, then I've got to start putting the words down that describe what you want to be. And then once you've got a sense from your words, this is the iconic look you want to have. This is what you want to project. Then start putting those words into Google, Pinterest. Would that be an approach?
Absolutely, you could do that too. Yeah, that's a great point that you brought up, Mark, because it's not even who you are now, it's where you want to be. Mm-hmm. You know, you dress for who you want to be. You dress for the idea in your head. You know, like you said, if you want to be the artist, if you want to be the executive, wherever you want to be, and it's a slow process. And absolutely using keywords. And instinctively, we know what colors, because colors are huge, 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 huge. But we know what colors make us happy. And we know what colors we're drawn to. So we start there. Like I have clients, gentlemen, I know you love the blue. Blue is a beautiful color. I'm wearing blue today. Generally, I gravitate towards pink.
Company colors.
I love burgundy too. That is definitely more my signature color. But you know, we know what colors we like. So let's start there and work in that palette. And then with that palette, you add another color and another color. And so fit wise, now that's a little bit more of a challenge because again, we kind of discussed it briefly and I didn't have it there, but it's not the matter of what your size is. It's how you wear that size. Size is a reference number. So sometimes we get hung up and it gets discouraging. That's one of the other things, Mark, is going shopping right away, is trying to figure out your size. This is why sometimes it's good to have a personal shopper to help you with that, because I mean, how many of us go into a store and go, I don't know what size I am, and then you try on 5 different clothes, nothing fits, and you're like,
vary from store to store. I would say, well, vary from store to store. I was in, it was a garage store, I think it was called, and I came across this really brightly colored chiffon thing for my water set. And so I said, you know, what's the best size? And she said, well, medium's pretty average. So I brought it home. My assistant and Jan looked at it and go, no one can wear that. It's too small. I go, it's medium. She said, well, not in the real world. So I took it back and I got the
well,
so,
and as garages for young girls. So yeah. Well, and that's exactly it. Like, sizing is all over the place. And depending on the type of store you go to. So that's a big significance as well, is knowing your size, knowing what you like, and not, back to the size thing, don't get hung up on it. It doesn't matter if you're not a size 0 or a size 4, or a, you know, with gentlemen in their sports jackets, they are like, oh, I'm not a 42, because a 42 is average to a woman's medium.
Okay.
It's like, who cares? Who cares? All it is a reference number to help make sure the clothes fit well. Because in a 42 jacket, you know what? You might actually fit a 46. But if it fits you well and trim, nobody's even going to know the number, because it's so well hidden in that suit. Nobody's going to find it.
Right.
And for us ladies, I mean, it's even worse for us, because we're not that size 0. But you know what? It's not even, part of it I didn't mention as well, is that I actually lost well over, in my journey, there was a period of time I lost well over like 85 pounds. So I was 250 pounds, and then I went down. And within that, nobody knew I was as heavy as I was because of how I dressed. I made sure that when I dressed, I wore clothing that were still, you know, fitting well. So it actually accented my shape. So most people didn't even realize I was as heavy as I was. I knew, because of health-wise, and that was what made me make the choice to lose the weight, not because of how I looked. I still looked fabulous. I still had people hitting on me. It was all good. So, but it was a health issue that I had to lose the weight. But so size is irrelevant. It's going back to how we figure out what our style is exactly that: experimenting, colors, coming up with words, you know, finding examples in the stars we see. So many of them have different fashion sense. Like Melissa McCarthy, she's a very big woman, beautiful, funny, hilarious, and I adore the way she dresses. Queen Latifah is another one that dresses amazingly beautiful. And I get style inspirations from them all the time. And one of my actually absolute favorites, she is now in her 80s, is oh shoot, see, I'm gonna lose it. Who is she? She's iconic. She plays in she was one of Charlie's Angels. Jane Fonda. There we go. Jane Fonda. That lady, oh my God, does she have style? She's in her 80s now, and she still has phenomenal style that I have totally stole because I love it. So, you know, it's finding those that you see those and then experimenting. And sometimes some of the styles will not suit you. There are some styles I love, but they don't suit me. I can't wear them. A sweater dress is one. I adore a sweater dress. It's comfy. It's gorgeous. I see people wearing them. I'm like, oh my God, that looks so elegant. I wear it. It looks like I'm wearing a freaking paper bag. It doesn't work. And that's okay. It doesn't make it a bad style. It's just not suited for me. And it doesn't make me a bad person or an unattractive person because I can't wear it. It's just not suited for me. And I'm okay with that. I just admire it on other ladies and go, dang, good on you, girl.
Oh, is there any stuff that people should stay away from? I was reading in a Quora recently where people were asking if there's a hidden fashion thing, and she said apparently wearing just sloppy t-shirts isn't a thing. She looked around, all the women are actually wearing tailored golf shirts. Is there some stuff that just is a bad thing to wear?
You know what? I'm very cautious with that because everybody is so unique.
Okay.
Generally, a beard t-shirt, throw it out. Just throw it out, please. Okay. That weird dull gray. Just throw it out. Swore, but that's how I feel. And you know, the other thing is, I want to say for women in the professional field, I wear my yoga pants. There's a time and a place for everything. I love my yoga pants. They're beautiful casual pants. I'm going out with friends for a walk, or I'm going out, you know, out in the wilderness or whatever. I'll wear the yoga pants. I'll wear that because they're great. Now, there's a difference between a yoga pant and a tight, or a legging type of thing. So something like that, I would say as a woman in a professional field, get rid of them. Just get rid of them. Just don't do it. You're better off wearing a colored pair of jeans than those. They just don't belong. If you want to elevate that, those would be my big no-nos. And of course, there's always exceptions that I might, you know, forgive. But in my mind, those are two, just get rid of them. You know, they have an appropriate time. The beer shirt's great if you're fixing the car in the garage. You know, if you're raking the freaking leaves, if you're doing chores, it's fabulous. That's it. So, but I'm always cautious about do's and don'ts of fashion. There's no more do's and don'ts anymore, where there used to be in the olden days, very strict rules, you know, don't wear white after Labor Day and, you know, all of this stuff. Now we're seeing a much more relaxed thing of guidelines. You know, there's color blocking now where there never used to be. So fashion is becomes so much more personable and individual. So like I said, again, I don't know if people watch the Netflix show Next in Fashion, but that was a great example on there, is that there was the Korean girl, beautiful, amazingly talented designer. Half her clothes you wouldn't catch me dead in. But it was beautiful clothing, and I could appreciate what she was creating. And on some of my clients, I could totally see them wearing it. Like I said, me, no, you would never catch me wearing any of it. But that doesn't mean that I should discount it, because like I said, I had some clients that would have adored it, and I was trying to find some of them for them. So
a question I've got, this has puzzled me for a long time, and I'm hoping may have the answer for it. The fashion designer, like in the fashion shows, their clothes usually are insane. Like they're really over the top outrageous. Like I can't even imagine some people going, yeah, that big flower thing, I'd wear that to a party. Like, what is there a bigger thinking process for that, where someone sees fashion, says, well, that's a creative person, I'll hire them for something more mundane? Like does anybody actually wear some of those fashion things? They're terrifying.
No, that's a great question, because absolutely. It's sort of like, you know, when you go to a trade show for a specific industry, right? Say you're an engineer for, I don't know, a building or something, right? And you go to this trade show. If the average Joe walked into that trade show, they're going to go, hell is all this stuff? Like, what, why, what? And that's really what fashion shows are. They're a trade show for the people within the industry and other people that are just admirers of fashion. It's a piece of artwork. And when I look, and I do watch the fashion shows for each season, so I can get an understanding of what's coming in and what's trending. Most of the time, what you see on runways will not get translated, or there will be a variation of it that will get translated into the general population of trends. But a lot of it will not. It's just like you said, again, that was exactly it. It's to see what a designer can create, and if it can later on make it practical for streetwear, for everyday wear. So when I look at a fashion show, I look at the colors that are in this season. A basic styling trend. Are we going baggy? Are we going skinny? Are we going, the crop tops? Like, what's kind of the feel of what's going to be the flow? Now, here in Calgary, I always say we're in a different fashion time zone.
Okay.
So what they're doing in Toronto, just like they're like 3 hours ahead of us, what they're doing in the fashion industry, what Vancouver's doing in the fashion industry, what Paris is doing in the fashion industry is ahead of us. So you could definitely wear it if you're bold and you're ambitious and you want to do that. Definitely. I would never discourage it. But we're about a couple of years behind most fashion trends. And that's part of the side of the marketing and the buying for fashion when you have to do stores and retail stores. And if you see most retail stores, especially in the malls, you go to one store to the other store, they're big all the same because they've taken the core essence and then translated into everyday use. So they're not quite as original. So if you want to look for things different, I would suggest that's when you go to the boutiques here in Calgary. And with the pandemic, we always talk about supporting local, and I really encourage shopping at the smaller boutiques. There's many beautiful ones along 17th Avenue and in Inglewood. Unfortunately, one of my favorite ladies stores closed down because of the economic downturn. But there's Blondie boutiques for the very petite ladies. There's some other ones along, like I said, I can't think of one straight off my head. I should have prepared this. You can Google the boutiques of Calgary, and I suggest ordering from them because you're going to find more unique pieces. For the menswear, you have Ed Williams, you have Supreme, you have other, O'Connor's even, Geo's, Foreman's. Those are all beautiful places to shop that you're going to find fashion that is unique. It will be a little bit of a different price point value, but it's quality. So it's not about quantity and buying umpteen number of pairs. It's about buying quality and key pieces for your wardrobe. So that t-shirt, you love your t-shirt, just upgrade it. Get a PYA t-shirt. Those are beautiful. And they last, and you can wear your things. Or the polo shirts. DeSoto is out of Germany, and they make a beautiful stretchy knit shirt. And a guy can be super comfy because it's stretchy, but it looks amazing. So yeah, I wouldn't worry unless you had a specific interest in fashion shows. Honestly, it's for the people in the industry more than anything.
Okay, that makes more sense because it's always confusing me.
And they're not meant to be worn on the street. Trust me.
That's good to know. Photographically, as an artist, I look at them and go, "Oh, that would be like so much fun to photograph. I could have a really cool time with that."
Yeah.
And those are neat. There's a whole style of photography. When the pandemic kind of got in the way of it, but there's an outfit down the States, and he runs about 3 days of high-end fashion photography with stylists and fashion clothes and cool buildings and cool people and cool models. So we're going to be, we'll take some time to go down there. So it'll be kind of wild. Good. Well, that kind of wraps up our time a bit. Is there any final things? I'll bring up your information so people can kind of see, share my screen again. So if they want to get them down, they can do that. There we go. And that's the contact information.
So what I'm offering too for everybody that we're a participant for this, I'm also offering a free consultation. So they can contact me either, over FaceTime or whatever to go over a quick thing if they wanted to find something for their Zoom conferences and they need that more individual one-on-one. Then I'm offering that for free, a nice little consultation and helping them dress for their next Zoom conference.
That's very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well received. Getting a few thumbs up. That's nice to see. That is really
nice.
Cool. So this is, we're going to probably play with these some more next couple of weeks as we get our more guests kind of lined up and experiment with this new medium. We're having a good time with it. In the interim, I'm, here's my little thing here with share my screen here. There we go. From the Heart Masterclass. So thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a delight to have you here. And of course, have Maud yesterday and be in today. Is it D or B?
B, B-E-E, like the bumblebee.
I'm just seeing on your screen there, you have it down as B. So I didn't do that. If anybody's curious, that's not me. There we go. And of course, I'm Inner Spirit Photography from Mark Laurie from Inner Spirit Photography. And thank you for joining us. And it's been great. And thank you, B. It's wonderful.
Thank you. It's been a blast and I've thoroughly enjoyed it.